So hello everyone, welcome to this another video of Scale Up India. I'm Abhishek Verma and you have started watching JDBC Part 6 where we are going to discuss about call using callable statement. With each other about the JDBC, and Ini says, what is this callable statement? I mean, we have already learnt about statement, then we learnt about its drawback, then we learnt about prepared statement. So what is this callable statement? Are we going to say that there are going to be some disadvantages in prepared statement also now? So let's see what Vinny answers. So Vinny says it is just a special form of prepared statement. Now Ini says, then what is the purpose of this special form? So Vinny says that it is used to call the stored procedures or functions in a database. So if you have already worked with the database, then you must be knowing what are these stored procedures or functions, and if not, then we are going to cover the basics. So functions, you must be knowing that there is something like count function which is going to count the total number of rows. There is a max function which is going to provide you the maximum value of the particular column. Similarly, minimum function is there, and same way you can create your own functions also. So those are like your custom functions, and then similarly there is something like a stored procedure also. But Ini is not aware that what are these stored procedures. So Vinny says that let's assume that you need to update the database on some particular condition. So let's say that wherever the pet type is a dog, you need to change the name of the pet. So maybe you just need to add a prefix or a suffix for all the dog pets. Now after this update, you also want to display the particular columns of the updated rows only, not all the rows but only for the updated rows. So for this, what you are going to do? So Ini says, okay, that's very simple. I will be using an update operation first of all, and then I will be using one read operations. So that means there will be two operations, and in Java we can assume that you will be creating two different methods also for this, and that we have already seen in our previous videos that how we can do so with the help of statement as well as the prepared statement, and that's absolutely correct also. But the problem is, let's say if the same thing needs to be done again and again, so in that case it will be too time consuming to perform the same operations again and again, multiple operations. So instead of it, what if that we can have a single method which can do both the things. So stored procedure is a pre-compiled collection of SQL statements, not a single statement, but I'm saying SQL statements, which will remain always there, already stored, and they will be executed again and again whenever invoked. So Ini says that is it something like our Java method? Because in Java method also, if you see, we create a particular method, update the database, and then we have some particular logic. Multiple statements are there within that particular method. So same way in SQL also, we are going to have these stored procedures. So they can have any amount of complex DB operations. It can be update, it can be delete, it can be something like a reading operation, or it can be something like an insertion operation also. But the point is that you don't need to invoke all the statements each and every time one by one. Instead, you can just invoke with a very simple method call only, like you do in the Java, just by saying something like println, or it may be something like the show method. So you are just calling the show method. So same way in the SQL, you are going to call the particular method. Now that particular method can take some input also, then it is going to perform some operation, and then it is going to return you some particular values. So let's try to see the same thing with the help of our Java code. So as always, we have opened our IDE, and this is our demo 4 created with the help of JDK 17, and here we are going to enhance our same application Petistaan for the callable scenario, or you can say the stored procedure scenario. So before proceeding ahead, let me show you this demo class. So here I have enhanced this particular as of now, and let me just cross this. Let me execute it once to show the number of operations. So now we will be having only two operations. So here I'm not going to show you all the operations for the callable statement again. You can perform them as you wish. And here we are just going to discuss the brief of the callable statement. So here it says, welcome to Petistaan, And then you can press 1 to fetch the owner details as always, and press 2 to update the pet details as per the pet type. So let's try to enter 1 here as of now. So I'm saying 1. Now it says me enter the pet type. So let's say we are going to press cat here. And now, as you can see in the output, I can see all the owners whose pet type is a cat. So here you can see that all of them are cat only, and these are the pet names which we are going to have. So this is the way we have created this particular method. As of now, I have not shown you. So you can assume that it must be with the help of a statement, or the more better terms is it should be with the help of a prepared statement. And it should be something like select star from owners where pet type equals to the given pet type. Now let's press Y to continue. And the next one is to update the pet details as per the pet type. And this is the method which we need to create as of now. So it is not created. So let's see what needs to be done. Let me close this. So whenever I will be pressing 2 here, the control will come here, in my case 2, and it will say update pet details. And before that, it is going to accept the pet type to operate. So it is just going to be a pet type, and then the control is going to be there. And then here also it is going to ask you whether we wish to go for the callable or without callable. So first of all, we will try to perform this logic without the help of the callable statement and see how we can do so. So for that, let's move on to our service IMPL. So this is my owner service IMPL. And here you can see that I'm using this particular boolean. So although this is not a good practice for your actual production based application, but here since we are just doing demo, so instead of creating multiple methods, I have just created one method, and within that only, as per this flag, I'm going to call whether we will be using the callable or without callable. So let's say that initially the person chooses not to perform the operation with the help of callable. That is, they want to perform without callable only. So let's go there and see what is there in this method. So yeah, this is my method here, and in this method, as you can see, we are going to accept a pet type. Then here this is my owner DTO list. This is my connection. Initially it is null. Then this is my try block as always. So I'm loading the driver first of all. Then I'm preparing a connection, and then I'm not doing anything. So I'm just catching the exception, and then I'm having just the finally block. And before this, I'm having the another method which is like find owner. So this you are already aware for the prepared statement and this. So it is going to be simple. So let's try to provide the logic for this method and see how we can do so. So here we need to update the pet details. Now for update, we need to have an update query here first of all. So what we will be doing is that we will be taking help of this particular connection here. So here we will say connection, something like this, and then we are going to say prepare statement, this one, and here it should be an SQL query. So let me just write here on the top as always string SQL. So I'll be providing this SQL later on. As of now, let me just call it as null. So this should be enough for me. Now after this prepared statement, I must be storing it somewhere. So if this is a prepared statement, let me try to save it here, or let me just copy paste from this one. Let's try to reuse our code as much as possible. So I have copied it, and let me copy this particular variable also and paste it something like here. So this is my prepared statement. Now since this prepared statement is going to be an update query, so I need to say here execute update. So I'll again copy this, paste it here, and say here execute, something like this, and say execute update. And it is going to return me some number of rows. But I don't want the number of rows. Instead, I just want in the output my list of owner DTO only for those owners where the pet has been updated. So that particular one I want. So that we are going to see in some time. But this is for my first one. Now here, let's try to provide our SQL. So for this, let me first of all take you to my workbench and show how the SQL is going to look like there. So here we are, and this is my update query. So you can see that I have mentioned update, the name of the table as owner table, Then I'm saying that we need to change the pet name. So basically we need to add the prefix as Mr. or Miss before the pet name depending on the gender of pet. And this we don't need to do for all the pets. We just need to do it for the particular given pet type. So I must be providing here something like this cat here. And if you wish how this is going to look like, so we have already seen with the help of our code, but let me just show you here also once. So if I select this, so currently these are the pet names for all the cats, something here. And when I will be updating or when I will be executing this query, so it will say here something like, so this Fluffy is a female, so it will say Miss Fluffy. Then Luna is a female, so it will say Miss Luna. Then for this Simba is a male, so it will say Mr. Simba and something like this. So this kind of update query we need to copy in our SQL statement. So let me just copy this and go back. So I'm back to my IDE, and here as you can see that I have provided the SQL statement. So this is my update SQL statement, and since it is more readable in this particular format, so I'm making usage of text block here for the string text block so that I can write it up in multiple statements. If you wish, you can just make it a normal string also, and then you can have a whole big particular statement. Yeah, that's fine. And there is only one single input here. So what we are going to do here is we are going to provide the value. So we'll copy this again, and after this we will be saying dot set. Now this pet type is going to be the name here, so it is going to be a string. So here we will say set string, and the argument is 1. As you know, here the arguments are going to start from 1, and pet type we are getting from the input as it is, so we don't need to do any big operation for this. And yeah, something like this can be done here. So this is for the prepared statement. Also, since this is the prepared statement, we should be closing that. So let me again copy the logic from this particular part. So I've copied here, and let me just paste it out here. So this is also I have done, and you can ignore this particular blue lines as of now. There is no impact of this. So yeah, our code is ready, but the problem is that in this method we need to return the list also. But here we are just performing the update operation. So we need to execute one more operation here. So for this, what we will do is that we are going to again say here, or what do you think? Do we again need to create a connection? The answer is no. We don't need to create the connection here. Only single connection can do multiple jobs. So we just need to have one more SQL query. So in order to remove our confusion, what I'll do is I'll rename this as update SQL, something like this, and let me copy this particular name and paste it here like this. So this is my update SQL, and similarly I'm going to have one more as read SQL, because I want this method only to return me the output. And this read SQL, I will be copying this particular one. So something like this I will be doing up here. So here it goes. Now the point is that I need to use this read SQL also. So for this, as I told you, I don't need to recreate the connection, and the prepared statement variable also, I don't need to make another prepared statement variable. If you wish, you can create, but what is the benefit of it? Once you have created and you have done one job, so it is free to use. So we are going to use the same variable only again. So what we will be doing is we will be copying this particular statement here and we'll paste it, and here we are going to say read, something like this. So here we are saying read SQL, and after reading the SQL, the another one will be that we need to provide the value here. So this value I can reuse it something like this as it is without making any change, because here also there is only one input parameter and it's a pet type, so same can be reused as it is. And for the next part, since this is going to be a read query, so I need to say here execute query. So for this, I'm going to copy from my above part along with the result set. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it out here, and this is the way it is going to work, and I don't need this repeated line here. So now this looks fine. And since I'm making usage of prepared statement only, and that resource I'm closing, so I don't need to have one more try catch for closing this particular resource. But the problem is here it is saying there is some yellow statement. And it says that still there are chances of the resource leakage. It says that this prepared statement is not closed. But you say that no, we are closing the prepared statement here. So let's try to understand. The control initially came here and we set that particular string. Then we made the execute update. Now before we are going to start it again, we need to close the previous resource. So that is the trick here, that before you are going to use this resource again, you should be closing it. So what we need to do is we will just copy this statement and we will paste it here, something like this. So this is the first time we are closing the resource directly in a try block. Now you may say that what if that some exception occurs in this particular statement itself? Then how that statement is going to execute? And I'll say no, that statement is not going to execute. So you may say then how it is going to close, because it will come to your final block and this is going to close it. Then you say that okay, what if that this statement has been executed? Then what is the purpose of it? Because after this we are going to start it again. So this also we need to close. So it is for that purpose. And here I am sure that at least if this statement has been executed successfully, for sure it will come for the next statement, that is in the next line here. Yeah. So I need to close it here explicitly also. So this is something important here. But as you can see, the method looks very big now because we are performing two operations here. First we are doing the update and then we are performing the read operation, and that is possible. So something like this. Same way you can have any kind of mixture for other scenarios also. You can have one delete also, you can do some kind of insertion also, or you can do an update on some other basis also. That is completely your choice. So our method is ready. Let me just save it and execute the code. So I'm executing this, and again let me press 1 first and say cat so that I can show you once again. So here you can see the names are Fluffy, Luna, Simba and Mittens and all these. And these are 16. So now let me say Y here. And this time let me say 2. Again, I just wish to do for the cat. And they say that press Y to use callable. But callable part as of now we have not implemented. We are doing without callable. So we'll just say N and we will be doing it with the help of prepared statement. So I'll say N here. And you can see it says updated details of 16 pets with the pet type as cat. So it says update operation has been done, and also it is going to show you the list. And if we scroll, so you can see the names have changed. So now it has added the prefix as Miss or Mr. depending on the gender, and it has done for the cat only. Let's go to our workbench also once and see there. So we are in our workbench here, and let me execute for the whole table once. So if I scroll here, so you can see for the cat, the pet name has been updated, but for the other data types, it has not updated. So that means it is fine here. And by mistake, I called it as data types, but it is pet types. So it has updated only for the cat pet type, which is good for us. So here we have performed the operation of update as well as select without the need of anything like callable statement. And this we have done just with the help of prepared statement. But we have seen the drawback that first of all our method is going to become very big, and by the time if you are going to say that okay your conditions are going to become more complex, so same your method is going to become more and more big, and again it is going to take too much amount of time in order to execute such a big code always. So there comes something like the callable statement. And callable statement, I will show you the code, but before this, as I told you that for that we need to have something like a stored procedure. And what is a stored procedure? Stored procedure is something which is going to have a set of statements. It can be a statement, it can be a prepared statement, or basically it can be any kind of query. So what we will do is that we'll copy this, because I want that my procedure should have this select part also as well as the update part also. So I'll copy this logic here first of all. Now there are multiple ways of creating a procedure. You can create a procedure from your code also. But the point is that the job of creating a procedure is going to be a one time only. So why do you wish to create it from the code? If you wish from the code, you can just make usage of a statement, and then it is going to be again a kind of SQL query only. So you can execute the statement. Or if you wish, you can directly create a stored procedure from your workbench. So here we are going to see how to create it from the workbench. So I'll click here on the stored procedure. As you can see, currently there are no procedures. So I'll say create stored procedure, something like this. Now here it is going to provide me something like this, a template. So it says create procedure, and then this is going to be your procedure name. So you can provide it anything. So let's say add prefix underscore to pet underscore name. So we will be using the name like this, add prefix to pet name. You can go for anything, but I'm just going for something like this. And then this is the beginning. So here we don't have anything like braces. Instead, we are going to have the beginning and end. Now within this, first of all, I want to have my update query. So I'll go back here and I'll copy this update query from here. So I'll say copy, and I will be pasting out here. And then after the update, I wish to have my this particular select query also. So I'll again copy and I'll again paste it out here, something like this. But the point is, I don't want to provide the pet type as hard coded. I want to take it from the input. So for the input, again like you do in Java, you can pass on the parameters or the arguments here also. So let's say pet type, something like this we have provided. So I'll copy this and I'll replace the pet type here, simple, and I'll replace it here also. So here I'm making usage of the camel case approach just in order to differentiate that this is my column name and this is my particular argument variable. And here for this pet type, you need to provide that this is going to be your input. So we'll say IN, and then we are going to provide that what is going to be its data type. So we can see here that it's a varchar. So here we will be saying it's going to be a varchar, something like this. So here it shows some error for this data type here, but why is it showing? So let's see. So it says that this varchar is not the correct for this particular position. It is expecting the new parameter name, but that we have already provided here. So if we can't provide here, let's try to remove from this and provide it after the pet type, something like. So now this is possible. And then for the varchar, whatever the length you wish. So generally speaking, that since this pet type is already a column for you, so when we created the table at that time also we chose some particular length. So ideally your length of input should be same what can be added into that particular column. So I'll be saying here 255 because that I guess was our length when we created the particular table. So this is the very simple way we have provided the procedure here. So this is going to be our name, which you just need to remember, and it is going to take your input, and this is going to be your output, just a select query for something like this. And then we are going to say apply here, or let's just say apply here, and then it is going to make it something like this. So it says use something, and this is nothing but your schema name. You don't need to worry, this is its way to execute. Then it says that it is going to drop it first if it exists. That is also fine, and it looks something like this. So I'll just say here apply, and I'll say here finish. So that is done. And how we can prove? So I'll just go here, I'll say refresh all, and here you see there is an arrow, and for this we see add prefix to the pet name. So your stored procedure has been created now. Now we can go here. Now the point is how to call this stored procedure, how to invoke this. So that is very simple. We'll just say here call, and then we'll provide the name. So for providing the name, let me copy the name from here. So I'll copy the name, I'll go here, and I can go for any kind of data type, or not the data type but the pet type. So again that is little confusing. So I need to provide a pet type here. So for the cat we have already done. let's try to do it for the dog. So currently for dog, you see that there is no issue with the names and the names are fine. There is nothing like Mr. or Miss. So we'll just provide this, and since it's a string, so it should be in the single inverted commas like this. And let me just select and execute. And now you see that for the dog only it has executed, and also it is showing in the output your updated rows for the dog. And if you wish to see for all, so you can just say this particular select, and here it says that for the cat as well as for the dog it has updated the pet names. So this means that we have learned how to create a stored procedure, and it's that easy. So you can have anything, you can have multiple input arguments also. If you don't wish to have any kind of input argument, then also it is fine, because in Java also we know there are methods which don't take any kind of input. So here also it is possible. Yeah, maybe you just want to execute some set of statements only, so that is possible here. Now the point is that we need to call the same thing from our Java code. So now in order to call that particular stored procedure from our code, we have this particular method, and you can see this is same like we were having without callable. So everything looks same as of now. But let's see what are going to be the differences here. So last time, if you remember, first of all we created the prepared statement. So let's see what we can do for the callable. So we'll say here connection, something like this, and here we will say prepare, and you see there is something like prepare call. So we will be selecting this prepare call, and here we are going to provide our SQL query, something like this. And here let me write on the top string SQL, and yeah, this is the way it is going to look like. So this is your prepare call. This time you don't need to say statement, instead it is going to be the call. And what is going to be the output or the data type? So it is the callable statement. So this is something new here. So let's write here callable and say statement, and let's give the variable name also as something like callable statement, so that we don't need to worry much that what should be the name or how we should write it. So, and I guess I have imported it wrongly, so let me go on top. Okay, yeah, this is java.sql.callable statement, then that is fine. So I have done the correct import here. So this is there, and this callable statement, let me save it here, something like this. So callable statement is ready for me. Now with this callable statement, the next part is that I need to set the value. Now since this is a prepare call, so what should we write in our string SQL? So for this we'll just go to our workbench again here, and we'll copy this. So we just need this particular statement, not the whole stored procedure, and we'll come back here, and I will be providing it something like this here, and it should not be again hard coded, it should be the question mark. So this is going to be look like call add prefix to the pet name. So we just need to provide something like this, and that's it. And the next thing is that I need to provide the value to this parameter. So for this I will be saying here again as callable statement, something like this, and I'll say set, and this should be the string. So I'll say string, I'll say 1 here, and here I will be saying as pet type, something like this. So it's a pet type, guys. Now after this is the pet type, the next thing is that what should we do? Shall we say here execute update, or shall we say here execute query? So remember that since in your output it is going to be kind of a table, so we will be saying here execute query, because we need to execute or we need to iterate upon that so that we can create a list. So for this what I'm thinking is that I should be able to copy this particular part. That will be an easier option for me. So I'll copy, I'll paste it here, and the only thing I'm going to change is that instead of prepared I will be saying here callable statement, and that's it. So this is how it is going to look like. Callable statement, execute query, and rest everything is same. Your result set is going to work as it is. And what about this particular thing? So we need to close the resource. So I'll be copying this try block here. I will be providing this try block here, and here also I will be replacing all these prepared statements with the callable statement variable, and it is going to look like this. So now this is looking simple, and interestingly it is doing the same job which the above method was doing for us. So everything is same here, but the point is here we just need to have a single statement, nothing much. So this is how it will look like. And if you want to see how this callable statement is, so as I said, this is just a special type of your prepared statement. So you can see that it is going to extend your prepared statement. Rest everything is same, and you can see the different things here, but as of now you don't need to go in that much detail. Now let's execute and see whether it is working for us or not. So I have executed it, and this time let me see here too, and this time we have already done it for the cat and dog. So let's do it for the fish. So we are doing it for the fish, and this time we need to go for the callable. So I'll just say y, and yeah, that's it. So automatically it will choose the second method, this one, and then here you can see that whenever the pet type is a fish, so it has added the prefix as Mr. or Miss, and this is how it is going to look like. A very simple case for your callable statement. So this way, in this particular video, we have learned that how the callable statements are going to look like, and how in our JDBC code we can have not only the statement and the prepared statement, but the callable statements also. And now we have covered almost all types of statements. So only three were there: statement, prepared, and callable, and we have covered all for the JDBC part. And that's it for this particular video. Let's meet you in the next video, and before that, please subscribe the channel if you like the video, download the demos from the GitHub, practice them, and see you in the next video with the next topic. Thanks everyone.